With the alliance between Aurelia and Varia established, John and Lyra focused on deepening the connection between the two worlds. Trade routes opened quickly, benefiting both planets with new goods and resources. Citizens of both worlds started visiting each other, building friendships, and understanding. John worked closely with Arya, the Varian leader, ensuring the alliance remained strong. He admired Arya's intelligence and fairness, and she respected John's kindness and ability to solve difficult problems. Together, they helped build trust and cooperation between their peoples. One day, during a quiet meeting, Arya spoke openly. "John, your leadership is extraordinary. I've learned much from you." John smiled humbly. "We all learn from each other, Arya. That's why our partnership works so well." Arya nodded thoughtfully. "Indeed. Yet your bond with Queen Lyra is unique. It seems to inspire everyone around you." John felt warmth spread across his cheeks. "Lyra is an incredible leader and person. I'm lucky to share this journey with her." After the meeting, John returned to the palace, finding Lyra in the gardens, thoughtfully tending flowers. She greeted him warmly, her smile gentle and inviting. "How was the meeting?" she asked softly. "Very good," John replied, walking beside her. "Arya continues to impress me. She deeply respects you." Lyra smiled, carefully trimming a delicate flower. "Our respect is mutual. Arya's friendship is invaluable." They spent a peaceful afternoon together, enjoying quiet conversation and the beauty around them. These moments of peace felt precious, a welcome balance to their busy lives. However, peace was interrupted when General Eric approached quickly, looking concerned. "John, Lyra," he said urgently, "a distress signal from Varia just arrived. They're under sudden attack from a mysterious enemy." John's heart raced as he exchanged a worried look with Lyra. "We must help them immediately," he decided firmly. "Agreed," Lyra said decisively. "Prepare the fleet, General. We leave at once." Within hours, Aurelia's fleet departed, speeding towards Varia. John felt anxious but determined. Beside him, Lyra stood confidently, her presence reassuring. Upon arrival, they saw Varia under siege by aggressive unknown ships. Aurelia's fleet quickly joined the battle, fighting bravely alongside their Varian allies. John coordinated carefully, helping strategize and support the combined defense. Amidst the fierce battle, John and Lyra received an urgent call from Arya. Her voice sounded stressed but determined. "John, Lyra, thank you for coming. These attackers call themselves the Zuron. They demand our immediate surrender." "We won't let that happen," John promised firmly. "Stay strong, Arya. We're with you." The fighting intensified, ships maneuvering sharply, exchanging powerful shots. Despite their bravery, the combined forces faced a difficult struggle. The Zurons were strong, organized, and relentless, John thought quickly. "We need to find their leader and confront him directly. That might force a retreat." Lyra nodded in agreement. Their command ship seems obvious. It's heavily protected, right at the center. "That's where we go," John decided decisively. He and Lyra quickly assembled an elite squad, maneuvering carefully toward the enemy's command ship. Fighting through heavy resistance, they finally breached the ship. Inside, battles erupted swiftly. John and Lyra moved determinedly, supporting each other expertly. They reached the command center, confronting the Zuron leader, Commander Vex. He was intimidating, towering, and aggressive, his eyes filled with arrogance. "Surrender now?" John demanded clearly. "We prefer peace, but we won't hesitate to defend our friends." Commander Vex laughed harshly. "Your bravery is amusing but pointless. My fleet will crush yours soon." The fight that followed was fierce and intense. Vex fought with ruthless determination, testing John and Lyra deeply. Yet their teamwork proved superior. Together, they pushed Vex back, finally defeating him. "Call off your fleet," Lyra commanded sharply, her voice unwavering. Realizing defeat, Vex grudgingly gave the order to retreat. Zuran ships withdrew swiftly, leaving Varia safe but damaged. John and Lyra returned quickly to Arya, finding her exhausted but relieved. "Thank you," she said sincerely. "You saved us again." "Allies protect each other," John said warmly. "We stand together always." The cleanup and repairs began immediately. John stayed busy, supporting efforts to restore stability to Varia. His presence reassured Varians greatly, strengthening their trust and gratitude. Finally, peace returned to Varia, and John and Lyra prepared to return home. As they departed, Arya thanked them again, her gratitude deep. Back on Aurelia, celebrations greeted their return. Citizens cheered joyfully, proud of their bravery and dedication. Yet John felt humble, knowing teamwork and unity had secured their victory. That evening, walking through the palace gardens, John reflected quietly. Lyra joined him softly, her presence comforting. "Another challenge overcome," she said warmly, standing close. "Yes," John replied thoughtfully, "but each time I learn more about strength and friendship." Lyra smiled gently. "Our journey is full of lessons, each one making us stronger." He took her hand softly, feeling calm and grateful. "With you, every challenge becomes possible, Lyra." She squeezed his hand gently, her eyes warm and sincere. "Together, John, we will always find a way." They stood quietly, looking toward the stars, united and hopeful. Their bond had strengthened again, forged in struggle and victory. With each experience, John knew Aurelia's future was secure, brightened by friendship, courage, and unity. Days passed quickly after the fierce battle. Aurelia began healing, with citizens working hard to repair damaged homes and buildings. John and Lyra stayed busy helping their people, making sure everyone had what they needed. Despite the exhaustion, John felt satisfaction in knowing he was helping Aurelia recover. One quiet afternoon, John was walking through the palace gardens. He needed a moment to himself to think clearly. The gardens were peaceful, filled with colorful flowers and gentle sounds of running water. As he walked, he heard soft footsteps behind him. Turning, he saw Lyra approaching, a gentle smile on her face. "Am I disturbing your peace?" she asked softly. John shook his head warmly. "Not at all. Your presence is always welcome." Lyra smiled, gently, walking beside him. For a moment, they simply enjoyed the quiet beauty around them. Finally, Lyra spoke, her voice thoughtful. "John, our people love and respect you deeply. They speak of your bravery and kindness constantly." John felt humbled, looking at the ground shyly. "I'm just doing what anyone would." "No," Lyra said firmly, stopping to face him. "Your courage and heart are rare. You have a special ability to inspire those around you." John met her eyes, feeling a warmth in his chest. "I couldn't have done it without you, Lyra. You inspire me every day." They smiled at each other, sharing a quiet understanding. After a moment, Lyra took a deep breath and continued softly. "Our council has requested to meet with us both tonight. They want to discuss Aurelia's future, including your role here." John felt his heart skip a beat. He had considered his future here often, but wasn't sure what he would choose. He enjoyed his simple life on Earth, but Aurelia and its people had become dear to him again. "Are you ready for this discussion?" Lyra asked gently, sensing his uncertainty. "I think so," John replied honestly. "But whatever happens, I promise to make the choice that's best for Aurelia." Lyra nodded, clearly grateful. They continued walking, enjoying their time together before the important meeting ahead. That evening, John and Lyra arrived at the council chamber together. The room was grand and beautifully decorated, filled with council members waiting patiently. General Eric greeted them both respectfully, inviting them to take their seats. "Welcome," Eric began formally. "We have gathered to discuss our future, and specifically, John's role in it. Our people have expressed their wish for John to remain permanently on Aurelia." Murmurs of agreement echoed softly through the chamber. John listened carefully, his heart feeling heavier. He understood their hope, but the decision wasn't easy. Eric continued, addressing John directly. "You have shown incredible leadership, John. Your presence gives our people hope and strength. We believe your permanent stay would greatly benefit Aurelia." John took a deep breath, considering his words carefully. He stood slowly, addressing the council. "I'm deeply honored by your trust. Aurelia means a great deal to me, and I truly care for everyone here, but this decision requires careful thought." He paused, looking around the room. "I came back because Lyra asked for my help. I stayed because I care about Aurelia's future. Whatever I decide, please know it will be with Aurelia's best interest in mind." The council members nodded respectfully, appreciating his honesty. Eric spoke gently. "We understand, John. Take your time. We trust you will make the right decision." After the meeting ended, John felt deeply reflective. He walked slowly through the palace, eventually finding himself back in the gardens. The moon shone softly, bathing everything in gentle light. He sat quietly, deep in thought. Lyra found him a short while later, sitting beside him quietly. "I know this choice is difficult," she said gently. "But remember, you are not alone." John looked into her caring eyes, feeling comforted. "I know. Lyra, your support means everything to me." She smiled warmly. "No matter your choice, Aurelia and I will always hold you dear." Days continued passing as John wrestled with his decision. He spent time among Aurelia's people, seeing their daily lives and understanding their hopes. Each interaction warmed his heart, making his decision clearer. Finally, one morning, John knew what he must do. He found Lyra in the palace, her expression calm and patient. "I've made my decision," he announced quietly, his voice steady. Lyra faced him gently, her eyes filled with kindness. "Tell me, John." He took a deep breath, meeting her gaze directly. "I want to stay on Aurelia permanently. This world has become home, and its people my family." Lyra smiled joyfully, her eyes sparkling with happiness. "John, your choice fills me with happiness. Aurelia will forever be grateful." The news spread quickly through Aurelia, and people rejoiced. Celebrations filled the streets as everyone expressed their joy and gratitude for John's decision. John felt deeply touched by their warmth and excitement. That evening, the city held a great celebration. People danced, sang, and laughed together, embracing John as one of their own. Lyra stood by John's side throughout the celebration, sharing in the joy of their people. As the evening grew quiet, John and Lyra walked alone through the gardens once more. They shared gentle conversation, reflecting on all they'd been through. Together, "This place feels truly like home now," John admitted softly, looking around warmly. "It's always been your home," Lyra replied gently, her smile warm and sincere. "You just needed to realize it." They laughed softly together, feeling a deep sense of peace. John knew challenges would come again, but standing beside Lyra, he felt confident they could face anything. As they stood beneath the gentle moonlight, John took Lyra's hand softly. "Together, we've overcome so much. I'm ready for whatever the future holds." Lyra squeezed his hand gently, her voice filled with warmth. "And I will always be by your side, John." They stood quietly, looking toward the beautiful city and stars above, feeling united and strong. John's heart was calm and certain. His journey had led him exactly where he belonged with Lyra, among their people, on Aurelia. Life on Aurelia continued to improve day by day. John embraced his new role with energy and dedication. He spent his days helping rebuild, organizing defenses, and teaching others about Earth's ways to enhance Aurelia's growth. Citizens quickly grew fond of John's wisdom and kindness. One peaceful afternoon, John stood at the city's edge, looking out over the rolling green fields that stretched endlessly. Farmers were planting new crops, children were playing freely, and life was flourishing. The peaceful scene filled John with deep satisfaction. Suddenly, he felt a familiar presence behind him. Turning around, he saw Lyra approaching gracefully, her expression warm and gentle. "Enjoying the view?" she asked softly, standing beside him. John smiled and nodded. "It's beautiful. Seeing everyone so hopeful and happy makes all the struggles worthwhile." Lyra smiled in agreement, gazing thoughtfully at the landscape. Aurelia has come so far, thanks to your dedication and strength. John shook his head modestly. It wasn't just me. You've been the true heart and soul of Aurelia. Your leadership guided everyone. She turned to face him, her eyes gentle. We've guided each other, John. Your strength inspires mine, and together we've created something beautiful. They stood quietly, enjoying the peaceful moment, feeling deeply connected by their shared experiences. However, a sudden interruption caught their attention. A young messenger ran toward them, breathing heavily. My queen, John, he said urgently. General Eric requests your immediate presence. He says it's very important. John and Lyra exchanged concerned glances and quickly followed the messenger back to the palace. Eric waited anxiously, his face serious. What's wrong, General? Lyra asked as soon as they arrived. A small fleet of unknown ships was spotted heading toward Aurelia. Eric reported gravely. They've requested to meet specifically with you and John. John felt his pulse quicken slightly. Do we know their intentions? Eric shook his head. No, but they mentioned peaceful intentions. Still, we must be careful. We'll meet them. Lyra decided confidently. Prepare our defenses, but make it clear we prefer peace. John and Lyra quickly prepared for the meeting. Soon, the ships landed gracefully outside the palace, their sleek surfaces shimmering. Several beings emerged, appearing cautious yet unarmed. Their leader, an alien woman named Arya, approached respectfully. Greetings, she spoke clearly, her voice gentle and reassuring. I am Arya, from the world of Varia. We heard of your bravery and wisdom in facing the Zarn. We seek friendship and alliance. John felt relief wash over him. Lyra stepped forward warmly. Welcome, Arya. We are pleased to meet you and discuss friendship between our worlds. The Varian visitors were invited into the palace, where peaceful discussions began. John and Lyra listened carefully as Arya explained her people's struggles and hopes for an alliance. It became clear that both planets could greatly benefit from unity. Days passed filled with thoughtful talks and planning sessions. John worked tirelessly, negotiating terms that would ensure both worlds' prosperity. His fairness and kindness impressed the Varians deeply, and bonds of friendship quickly formed. Finally, agreements were reached, promising trade, mutual defense, and cultural exchange. Aurelia and Varia celebrated their new partnership joyfully, recognizing the strength found in cooperation and unity. During the celebrations, Arya approached John and Lyra privately. Your unity and strength inspire us deeply, she said warmly. We will always be honored to call Aurelia our friend. John smiled kindly. Friendship and peace will always guide us. Together, our worlds will grow stronger. As the Varian visitors prepared to depart, the atmosphere was filled with hopeful anticipation for the future. Citizens of Aurelia waved farewell, grateful for the new allies they had gained. Later, standing quietly beside Lyra, John reflected on the journey they had shared. Aurelia had grown strong, facing threats and challenges with bravery and resilience. The alliance with Varia further ensured the safety and prosperity of both planets. We've accomplished so much, John said quietly, looking warmly at Lyra. Yes, she replied gently, taking his hand softly. And together, we'll continue to accomplish even more. He squeezed her hand gently, feeling deep peace and happiness. Together, they had created a thriving, hopeful future, not just for Aurelia, but now for their new allies as well. As evening settled gently over Aurelia, John knew his decision to stay was truly the right one. His heart was calm, knowing he had found purpose, peace, and love. With Lyra beside him, he felt ready for whatever adventures the future held, certain that together they could face anything. Early the next morning, John awoke to the sound of activity throughout the palace. Aurelians moved with urgency, preparing for battle. He quickly dressed and stepped into the corridor, meeting Lyra, who was already awake and discussing final preparations with General Eric. Good morning, John greeted them, trying to sound calm despite the tense atmosphere. "Morning, John," Lyra replied, offering him a gentle smile. "Today is important." General Eric nodded seriously. "Our scouts reported the Zorn fleet approaching. Quickly, they will reach Aurelia within hours. We need you both at the command center immediately." John followed Lyra and Eric through the palace, arriving soon at the command center, a large room filled with advanced technology. Screens lined the walls, showing maps of Aurelia and surrounding space. Soldiers and commanders worked at stations, finalizing preparations. "How large is their fleet?" John asked, studying the screens. "Too large," Eric answered grimly. "But our defenses are strong. We've reinforced our shield generators, and our orbital defenses are ready." John took a deep breath, calming his nerves. He looked at Lyra, whose presence always steadied him. She stood composed and confident, her gaze firm and reassuring. Her determination inspired John. "We'll hold them off," Lyra said firmly, addressing everyone in the room. "We have fought bravely before. Today will be no different." Her words seemed to encourage the soldiers and commanders. John stepped forward, looking at each of them. "Lyra is right. Together, we'll defend Aurelia and each other. Remember, unity is our greatest strength." With renewed confidence, everyone continued their work. John stayed close to Lyra, reviewing tactical plans and coordinating defense strategies. Hours passed swiftly, filled with preparations and tense waiting. Suddenly, an alarm sounded loudly. Throughout the command center, everyone immediately focused on their screens. "The Zorn fleet is here," a commander reported urgently. The screen showed numerous enemy ships approaching Aurelia, their sleek forms moving swiftly. "Activate the orbital shields," Eric commanded immediately. Aurelia's defenses sprang into action, a protective barrier shimmering into existence around the planet. Enemy ships launched powerful attacks, striking the shields fiercely. "How long can the shields hold?" John asked, watching the intense assault. "For now, they're strong," Lyra assured him calmly. "But we must prepare for ground combat. The Zorn will try to break through eventually." John nodded, understanding clearly. "Then we should get ready." Lyra and John moved quickly to join the ground troops assembling in the city. Soldiers gathered, equipped and ready. They stood firm, their courage evident despite the danger. John spoke briefly to the assembled forces, emphasizing unity and courage, reinforcing morale. Just as John finished speaking, a powerful blast shook the city. The shields had weakened, allowing enemy ships to land troops on Aurelia's surface. Fierce battles immediately erupted in several areas. "To your positions," General Eric ordered firmly. John and Lyra took their places, leading soldiers toward the enemy invaders. The sounds of combat filled the air, laser fire, shouting and explosions. The fight had truly begun. John fought bravely beside Lyra, their teamwork seamless and effective. They protected each other and their troops, moving strategically through the city, pushing the Zorn back wherever they could. John's heart was racing, adrenaline fueling his every action. Despite their best efforts, the Zorn continued to advance. Their technology was indeed formidable, and their numbers vast. John realized they needed a new plan quickly. "We need to disrupt their command structure," John shouted over the noise of battle. "If we can weaken their leadership, we can gain the advantage." Lyra nodded, her expression determined. "Agreed. Their commander, General Kaller, must be nearby. He always leads directly." "Then let's find him," John urged firmly. He and Lyra quickly rallied a small elite group of soldiers, carefully maneuvering through the chaos toward the enemy's strongest position. As they approached, enemy resistance intensified. John and Lyra fought skillfully, overcoming each obstacle. Finally, they spotted General Kaller, a large, imposing figure in intimidating armor, giving orders to his troops. "That's him," Lyra confirmed softly. John signaled their troops to flank the enemy, creating a diversion. Amidst the confusion, John and Lyra moved closer to Kaller, confronting him directly. "Surrender now, Kaller," John demanded firmly, his voice steady despite his pounding heart. Your invasion ends here. General Calais laughed arrogantly, drawing a powerful weapon. You humans amuse me. I will enjoy ending your foolish resistance. The fight between them erupted fiercely. Calais was strong and skilled, but John and Lyra's teamwork and determination matched him. The battle tested their strength, their courage, and their trust in each other. Together, they slowly began to overpower Calais. After an intense struggle, John saw an opening. Acting quickly, he struck decisively. Disarming Calais, the enemy general fell to the ground, defeated and vulnerable. Order your forces to stand down, Lyra commanded, her voice authoritative and strong. Seeing their leader defeated, nearby Zarn troops began to retreat, confused and disheartened. Across the city, Aurelians regained ground, rallying against their weakened enemy. Calais glared angrily, but knew he had lost. Reluctantly, he transmitted a message ordering his remaining forces to withdraw. Slowly, the Zarn fleet retreated, abandoning their attack. The Aurelians cheered in victory, relief and joy evident among their exhausted ranks. John and Lyra stood together, breathing heavily but triumphant. We did it, John said softly, smiling at Lyra. She smiled warmly back at him, pride shining in her eyes. Together, John, we achieved this together. John looked around at the battlefield, acknowledging the heavy cost of victory. Yet, despite the challenges, he felt hopeful and encouraged. Aurelia was safe, thanks to their unity and courage. As evening fell over the victorious city, the Aurelians began repairing damage and caring for the injured. John and Lyra remained together, supporting their people, comforting those who had lost friends and family. John knew the battle was over, but the work ahead was just beginning. Yet, with Lyra by his side, he felt ready for anything that would come. Their bond had grown even stronger through trials and adversity, uniting them deeply. As they stood quietly in the aftermath, Lyra took John's hand gently, looking into his eyes. Thank you, John. Your courage and kindness continue to amaze me. John squeezed her hand gently, smiling softly. We'll always face things together, Lyra. She nodded warmly. Always. The next morning came sooner than John expected. He awoke early, feeling both excitement and nervousness about what lay ahead. After packing some belongings, John took one last look around his simple home. He felt a pang of sadness, knowing he might never return here, but he knew he was making the right choice. Lyra was already waiting outside by her spaceship, looking calm and regal. Her presence seemed to fill the morning with a gentle, reassuring energy. John approached her, and she smiled softly. Are you ready, John? He nodded, gripping his bag tightly. I'm ready, he replied, stepping onto the ship behind her. The interior of the spaceship was sleek and modern, filled with soft lights and comfortable seats. John settled himself, feeling a strange sense of familiarity. It had been years since he traveled through space, yet everything seemed so natural again. Sat beside him, entering commands into a control panel. Within moments, the ship lifted smoothly from the ground, climbing higher until Earth became a tiny blue and green sphere behind them. John gazed out at the endless stars stretching ahead. The sight was breathtaking and reminded him of the vastness and mystery of space. After a long silence, Lyra gently spoke. I know leaving Earth again is difficult for you, but I promise, John, you won't regret coming back. John turned to her, his eyes thoughtful. It's not leaving Earth that's hard, he admitted quietly. It's going back to fighting, back to war. Lyra placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. You have always fought to protect others, never for the sake of fighting itself. That hasn't changed, John. This fight is necessary to safeguard our people and countless others. He nodded slowly, feeling reassured by her words. Tell me more about this enemy, he requested, determined to prepare himself. Lyra took a deep breath before beginning. They call themselves a Zarn. They are powerful, aggressive, and driven by conquest. Their technology is advanced, and their warriors ruthless. We tried diplomacy, but they refused peace. They attacked us without warning, devastating many of our outlying settlements. John frowned, imagining the suffering inflicted on the peaceful. People of Aurelia, why are they attacking now? What changed? Their home galaxy became unstable, Lyra explained softly. Their resources are dwindling. Aurelia and our allies represent rich and tempting targets. Their leader, a general named Caller, is known for his brutality. He is determined to expand his empire at any cost. John listened carefully, absorbing every detail. He remembered previous battles and knew how important strategy and preparation were. How strong is our defense now? Stronger than before, thanks to your earlier guidance, Lyra said, a hint of pride in her voice. But the Zarn are formidable. We need more than strength. We need unity. Your presence alone can inspire our people, remind them of their courage and purpose. John smiled softly, feeling encouraged by her faith in him. I'll do my best, he promised. The journey continued smoothly, the spaceship quietly humming as it moved through space. John and Lyra spoke more about Aurelia, sharing memories and discussing strategies for the battles ahead. The hours passed. Quickly and soon, they were nearing Aurelia. John felt his heart race slightly as he looked through the window, seeing the familiar planet come into view. Aurelia was beautiful, its surface a blend of vibrant colors, green forests, shimmering lakes, and towering mountains. But he also knew beneath this beauty lay great danger and uncertainty. They landed gently in the capital city, greeted by a group of Aurelians waiting anxiously. As John stepped out with Lyra, whispers filled the air, some hopeful, others doubtful. Lyra stood tall and confident, addressing her people clearly. My friends, John has returned. Together, we will face the Zarn and protect our home. At first, there was silence. Then slowly, the crowd began to cheer, their spirits lifted by the sight of their queen and the human who had once saved them. John felt humbled, realizing how deeply these people trusted him. Lyra led John to the royal palace, a magnificent structure made from shining crystals and smooth stone. Inside, they entered a grand hall filled with Aurelia's leaders and military commanders. John recognized many faces and exchanged respectful nods. General Eric, a tall, serious man, stepped forward. Welcome back, John. Your timing could not be better. We need all the help we can get. Thank you, General, John replied sincerely. I'm here to assist in any way possible. They began discussing battle plans immediately. The leaders outlined their current defenses, the strength and weaknesses of the Zarn forces, and potential strategies. John listened intently, offering insights and suggestions drawn from his past experiences. Hours passed as they debated strategies, refined plans, and prepared for the coming battle. Through it all, John felt a sense of purpose and clarity he hadn't experienced since leaving Aurelia. He was exactly where he needed to be. Finally, as the planning session ended, John found himself alone with Lyra. She looked exhausted, yet determined. You did well, she praised softly, her voice gentle. John smiled faintly. We have a strong team. But you, Lyra, are the heart of it all. Your strength inspires them. She smiled, her expression softening. We inspire each other, she replied warmly. Together, we can overcome anything. He nodded in agreement, feeling more hopeful than he had since the moment she had arrived at his home on Earth. Together, they would face the challenges ahead, united by their courage, trust, and the unbreakable bond they shared. As evening fell over Aurelia, John and Lyra stood together, looking out over the beautiful city bathed in starlight. Tomorrow would bring trials and uncertainty, but tonight John felt ready. His heart was at peace, knowing he was exactly where he was meant to be, beside Lyra, defending a world he had come to love deeply. John lived in a small, quiet town far away from any major city. He liked it that way. After years of traveling through space, exploring distant planets, and meeting different alien species, he wanted nothing more than peace, life was calm here. And each day was simple. John enjoyed tending his small garden, taking long walks in the woods, and spending evenings reading old Earth books on his porch. Nobody in town knew about his past adventures, and he liked keeping it that way, one warm. Evening, while John was sitting outside watching the sunset, something strange happened. He noticed a bright streak of light moving swiftly across the sky. At first, John thought it was just another shooting star. But the streak of light began to slow down, hovering just above the woods near his home. John's heart skipped a beat. He knew exactly what this was, a spaceship. He stood up quickly, his pulse racing. Memories flooded back to him, memories he had tried so hard to push away. He walked toward the edge of his property, feeling both nervous and curious. The spaceship lowered gently, touching down silently on the grass. Its surface gleamed softly, reflecting the fading light of the evening. Slowly, the ship's door opened. A tall, graceful figure stepped out, and John instantly recognized her. It was Queen Lyra, ruler of the distant planet Aurelia. She was as beautiful and striking as he remembered. Her pale blue skin seemed to glow slightly, her eyes large and kind. Her long hair, silver like moonlight, cascaded gently down her shoulders. She wore elegant robes that shimmered gently in the twilight. Lyra looked around, taking in the quiet surroundings before her eyes finally settled on John. She smiled warmly, her eyes filled with a deep sadness and longing. "John," she said softly, her voice gentle like music, "I missed you so much, human. Let's go back." John felt a wave of emotions wash over him. It had been so long since he had last seen her, yet the feelings he once had were instantly awakened. "Lyra," he said quietly, stepping closer, "why are you here? How did you find me?" "Finding you wasn't difficult," she replied softly, her eyes fixed gently on his face. "I have thought of you every day since you left Aurelia. Our worlds are facing new troubles, John. I need your help." John hesitated. He had left Aurelia after helping Lyra and her people fight off an enemy invasion. He had promised himself that his fighting days were behind him. Yet, standing here in front of Lyra, he felt torn. He cared deeply for her, but he also loved the peaceful life he had built here. Seeing his hesitation, Lyra stepped closer. Her expression was gentle and understanding. "I know this is sudden. I would not ask if it was not important. Your bravery and kindness once saved my world. Now we need you again." John sighed deeply, feeling the weight of her words. He gestured toward his home. "Please, come inside," he said quietly. "Tell me everything." Lyra nodded gratefully and followed him toward the small house. Inside, John's home was simple and comfortable, filled with earthly objects and mementos from his past. Lyra sat gracefully on a chair, her posture perfect and regal. John prepared a simple tea, something he always found comforting. As they sat, facing each other, Lyra began to speak. "Since you left, Aurelia has prospered. But now a powerful enemy from another galaxy has threatened us again. They seek to conquer our planet and many others. We have fought bravely, but our enemy is stronger and more ruthless than before." John listened carefully, feeling the gravity of her words. "Why me, Lyra?" "There must be others who can help you," he said, unsure of his own abilities. She smiled gently. "Others have courage, yes, but none have your heart, your ability to inspire hope and unity. The people of Aurelia trust you." "I trust you." John looked down at his hands, deep in thought. He remembered the battles he had fought, the lives he had saved, and most importantly, the bond he had formed with Lyra. Despite the distance and time apart, that bond felt just as strong now as it did then. "I never stopped thinking of Aurelia or of you," he admitted softly, finally meeting her eyes again. "But I don't know if I can go back to fighting. I left that life behind." Lyra reached out, gently taking his hand in hers. Her touch was comforting and familiar. "I know this is hard, but sometimes we are called back because our journey isn't finished. I believe our paths crossed for a reason. John squeezed her hand lightly, feeling comforted by her presence. His heart was telling him what he already knew. Despite his longing for peace, he couldn't ignore Lyra's plea. He took a deep breath, his decision becoming clear. "All right, Lyra, I will go with you," he said firmly, his voice steady. "We'll face this together." Lyra smiled warmly, relief evident in her eyes. "Thank you, John. Your courage gives me hope." John nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. He knew the path ahead would be challenging, but as he looked into Lyra's eyes, he felt confident that together they could overcome any obstacle as the night deepened. John and Lyra sat together, discussing their plans and sharing stories from their time apart. It felt good to reconnect, to feel that familiar bond again. Although uncertainty lay ahead, John knew he had made the right choice. Tomorrow, he would leave Earth once again. Tomorrow, he would step back into the life he thought he'd left behind. But tonight, sitting with Lyra in his humble home, John felt at peace. He knew his journey was far from over, but he was ready for whatever came next.